everyone, and welcome back to 333 News. On this week's episode, we have some grim news about the coronavirus. And these are some major stories, so you're going to want to pay attention or else you're not going to know what's going on around you. And we believe that a big cause of the recent surge in COVID-19 in Europe and the US is due to the fact that the winter season is now rolling into the northern hemisphere. So let's get right into what we're reporting today revolving around coronavirus. Alright, so first of all, I am going to show you 3 graphs to the right. And here they are. So you will notice that the 3 graphs I chose are Italy, France, and the US, and they are all reporting record high cases as of 2 days ago. And why is this significant? It shows that COVID-19 is rapidly escalating throughout the world, even though it might not be in all places, considering the southern hemisphere appears to be doing fine right now. But in the northern hemisphere, it appears to be escalating in many places. So you definitely want to be aware of that if you live in one of the places. So the major ones right now are Italy, France, and the US, which is why the 3 graphs are those countries. So Italy is spiking to around 30,000 per day now. France now has a new record of 60,000 one day. And the US has now surpassed 100,000 cases per day. And they have been going for 4 or 5 days now with 100,000 per day. Or more. In fact, the current record that is shown on the graph is around 120,000 per day. So, with that out of the way, you can clearly tell that COVID-19 is nowhere near over, and as we go further into the winter season, you're going to need to brace for the impact of COVID-19, because it's not just going to disappear like that. It will only disappear if you make the effort to get rid of it. And the way to do that is to socially distance, wear masks when in public, and wash your hands frequently whenever you need to. That way you can mitigate the spread and stop it from infecting any more people. Now, I do not guarantee that that will completely stop the spread of the virus, but doing those healthy measures will at least slow it down. So that's really all we ask, is that you do that to slow the spread. Alright, now, our next major story. So, I'm now going to show the top 15 countries in the world, along with the global cases and deaths, to the right. So, here is this major story. Worldwide, we have now surpassed 50 million cases of COVID-19. And in the US alone, we have surpassed 10 million cases of COVID-19. That is very high, very concerning, and is almost taking the same toll as the middle estimate of the swine flu. With, the number of cases back in 2009, 2010. So, in terms of the estimated death toll of the swine flu, we have already long surpassed that. So, that's a very bad thing. But what I'm really trying to show you is COVID-19 does not appear to be stopping anytime soon, because we have now surpassed 50 million cases, and we are currently on a global spike in cases, which is not entirely throughout the world. It is mostly in the northern hemisphere, specifically Europe and the US. But there are other countries showing a slight rise in cases as well. And with that being said, it looks like we're going to have a very rough winter in the northern hemisphere with COVID-19. Now, another thing I want to talk about is, what about the flu? The flu apparently can act on your body the same time as COVID-19 is. You can have both at the same time. It is possible. You should not rule that out. So, what I ask is, if you can, get a flu vaccine. That way you're protected at least against the flu. And continue following the precautions for COVID-19. That way you don't get that either. Because both viruses, especially combined, could be very dangerous and deadly. I tried to say them both at the same time. So, I really highly recommend that you get a flu vaccine as we go into the winter season, since it's already November, and that means in the northern hemisphere, we are arriving at winter. The temperatures are going down, which means cases are going up. So you want to prepare for the flu by getting a vaccine, and you want to prepare for COVID-19 by following the guidelines that I have recommended earlier. which would be to social distance, wear masks, and wash your hands. Please stay safe. We all urge you to stay safe. And do not let these numbers concern you too much. But keep in mind, they are real people throughout the world. 50 million people have been infected with COVID-19. And over 1 million people have died from COVID-19. Keep that in mind, please. But with that being said, that will wrap up this week's episode of 333 News, and I will see you next week with next week's episode.